Eamon Moladeen on his MSNBC show on Sunday had Representative Shontel Brown, a Democrat from Ohio, on. You'll recall that we've talked about this quite a bit. The DMFI, which is basically the front group for AIPAC, in their assault on progressive Democrats. Their strategy makes even more sense in the context of today than perhaps it was a little bit more unclear. Although, we talked about it, but it really is in stark relief. They have, for the past 2 cycles, been attacking progressive Democrats. They also support Republicans, to be fair. 106, I think they've given money to in terms of the House. But they attack progressive Democrats.
In primaries.
Yeah. And often never mention Israel whatsoever, even though that is their primary concern. It's obviously their organizing principle is support of Israel. They will attack progressives on other issues and literally flood money in. They have $100 million to do that in this cycle. Last cycle, I think it was probably closer to half that. But they would go into races and dump a ton of money in the last couple of weeks, overwhelming progressive candidates. Although Summer Lee managed to sustain herself
twice, both when they poured money in during her primary and during the general election cycle.
And Shontel Brown was the beneficiary of outside spending on her behalf in the weeks going up to the election against her and Nina Turner. And here is Shontel Brown on MSNBC's Eamon Moladeen.
Let me ask you really quickly about enablers for a moment, Congress. It's something we talk a lot about on the show, and that is AIPAC. It has affiliates, and its affiliates, they've endorsed 109 January 6 insurrectionists. I know you've received some funds from AIPAC. How do you reconcile this, and will you accept funds from them this cycle, given the fact that you talk so openly against those that try to overturn our democracy but receive money from an organization that supports those very same politicians?
Well, their organization has members and members that support some of the same policies that I do. So I don't have the privilege of identifying who supports what. We get our contributions and we are grateful for the support that we receive. But I will continue to represent all of my constituents in the 11th Congressional District to make sure that I am bringing the democratic policies, principles, and values to the halls of Congress every single day.
Can we go back to that? Because I want to try and decipher what she's saying here. Now, I got it wrong. It's 109. I said 106. But clearly, I don't know this because I haven't done, I didn't do my independent research. I've read about this multiple times. I was off by 3, but I didn't make up this number. Now, I don't have any particular privilege that anyone else has in regards to assessing who got that money. It is, I read it. Now, I don't get money from this organization, so I don't even feel an obligation to know other than the fact that I keep reading about it. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm privileged in other ways, but I don't have any special insight into that.
Yeah, check your campaign disclosure form privilege, Sam.
Yeah, and so I'm curious as to what she means here. Let's just play this again. Maybe I can decide.
I'm not privileged enough to know that AIPAC is giving it to Jan Sixers. That's, I think, what she's ultimately saying.
I mean, you don't, like I say, it's really readily available. I find that hard to believe. But
we'll see what she said.
Supports those very same politicians.
Well, their organization has members and members that support some of the same policies that I do. So I don't have the privilege of identifying who supports what. We get our contributions and we are grateful for the support that we.
This is very strange because who supports what? I sort of feel, here's the thing. You're running against a party that I think there's a very good argument that they are authoritarian. They are already talking as a party, not just Donald Trump, but as a party, how to cement their minoritarian rule, how to overthrow the civil service, essentially, that works in the executive branch of our government, how to take over the judiciary. They are, I think, very anti-democratic. I think there's a very good argument that our democracy is a bit blinkered in terms of like who has more influence than others, without a doubt. But they are plotting and announcing it as to what their strategy is to take over the country. January 6th, the president was impeached because of it. There are ongoing trials because of it. People are going to jail because they were fake electors during it. And you've got a supporter who is pumping millions of dollars into your campaign and also doing the same for people who actively supported the insurrection. And you have no way of knowing this. It just seems a little shallow.
It's a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I think like oddly, there's another way to interpret it in that she was trying to, basically obfuscate and claim that it was individual members of AIPAC or people that support AIPAC that were donating to her campaign, which like sometimes happens when people are analyzing, say like this candidate gets a ton of donations from Google, and then you look into it on the campaign disclosures and it's people that work at Google or people that, you know, they're individuals as opposed
Bernie
to
had
the
bank
organization
support
itself.
because of people that work for Chase donated for him.
Exactly. But that's not the case here. I mean, the AIPAC is not a multinational corporation with a ton of employees that are donating money to her campaign. AIPAC is using a front organization in Democratic primaries to flood the zone and support people like Chantel Brown, who are going to be pro-Israel, and that's a given. But it also helps.
And say vote for the idea that being anti-Zionist is anti-Semitic.
Exactly. And that's their primary objective. But like the AIPAC donors also have a lot of other right-wing connections, as we know. That's why they support over 100, Republicans?
109 people who actually
tried to overturn the election.
Were involved in that decertifying the vote.
But their members support a lot of things I support, like Israel.
Right, and the point is there is like it's a 2-fer, it's a 3-fer, it's a 4-fer, it's a 5-fer, or whatever for conservatives, because you get to smear the left as anti-Semitic and then also put in Democrats who are going to be entirely toothless and won't oppose things like, you know, tax cuts for the rich, or they might, you know, at least not be as big of obstacles as, say, the really strong progressives like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and Summer Lee are.